Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm doing a video. It's going to be a little bit longer. I'm working from the road and I'm in this hotel room, very crappy lighting, very crappy camera on my laptop. And I wanted you to see my expressions when I'm doing this, but I can't. So I graded 135 assignments today, and that is fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. That means you guys are working. And what it does when I have larger amounts of assignments versus smaller ones, I can see trends that are going on. And I saw a couple trends. And so the first one that I want to address is reading your feedback. So in this particular case, I've opened up a student's biology page. I have opened up the grades section. Now up here in this line up here, I want you to pay attention that there's some things that you need to explore in here, and I think you're going to really like them. You can see your badges and all kinds of stuff. But for right now, we're going to go to our grades. And in this particular case, I want to open up 1.04. So this person didn't score 100% on 1.04, and I have some feedback. And so I'm going to go and open that up. So we're going to go and open that up simply by clicking on this feedback. Remember, I've opened up biology, I've gone to grades, and now I'm off of dashboard and at the grade section. So I'm going to open that up. And so here I can definitely see that the score is an 83, there's some feedback, and I can see if I would click here how many times it's been submitted, and I could do some analytics if it was a quiz. So in here, because it's a lab versus a quiz, there's an automatic rubric attached to it. Some of you have already noticed this, some of you may not have. Anytime we're in this nice little yellow section, that's actually where the person scored. So proficient in problems and hypothesis section, emerging in the data and graphs, and if you can compare these, you can see what needs to be done in order to move up on this scale. Analysis and conclusion, you can see they're at the basic level instead of the proficiency level, and what needs to happen to move up there. And then clarity and formatting at a proficient level as well. So you can definitely read through this and see what needs to be done. And then we have the content comprehension level. So in the labs, we generally have these particular sections. They might look a little bit different, but they definitely give you some feedback on how to do that. But I've also given some very specific feedback that you can find underneath this particular part of the rubric. So here I've scrolled down underneath the rubric, and here's my feedback. And it says, hey, I think you're doing pretty good. This is what I think you could work on. And I've put a lot of time down in here telling this person, hey, you really need to work on your conclusion paragraph. This is how to work on it. This is what you need for the conclusion paragraph. And then, we knew that he needed to work on this data and observation section, so I put in this exemplar so that this person could have a good idea of what was going on. And so this is important. I have some very detailed feedback that this person needs to see in order to do better on the next one. So that's an important one, and I think you guys need to be reading that. Now then, there's one other section that I want to show you, and that's the quiz section. Okay, through the magic of pausing video and coming and turning the video back on, I have opened up 2.05 cellular respiration. And this student took this quiz and got a 70% on it. Now, this was an auto-graded quiz. I had nothing to do with it. If I would have scored this, I would have had some feedback in there, and it actually would have said, please review your quiz and the questions that you missed. I might have even said, if they have a short answer, you need to do this or this with a short answer. So what you need to know is how to review this quiz. So in the details, this is the same thing that you guys usually see. We can see the submission history, the analytics, which is really how you did compared to the rest of the class. But the one that we want to pay attention to is the questions. So I'm going to pull up the questions, and this shows exactly the test that you took. So this person did number 1 correctly. you're seeing that the green check mark says it's correct, and then the correct answer is marked with a green check mark. So if I scroll down to number 4, we see that this person actually got number 4 wrong. We know this because there's a red X. The red X on the answer choices shows the choice that the student picked, and the green one shows the choice that was correct. This is done for every single one of your quizzes. You have the opportunity to go and review these. So even if I've reset it, you can go back and redo these. Now, even if you get a passing score, you need to go back and review these and see how what you got wrong and how you could have gotten it right. This is very beneficial to you. You need to have it, and especially if you've gotten it wrong, you need to make sure that it's in your notes. And for me, you should be using your notes on your quizzes. You should be using your notes on your exams. I will give you as many redos as absolutely necessary, unless you aren't making proper progress, in all of your assignments except your module exams. You should be prepared for this with those notes and with all of your quizzes, with all of your assignments. So you need to be able to know how to go and look at these, because, hint, hint, those questions are recycled and put on the exam. So you need to be looking at these questions. If you get them right or you get them wrong, you need to be reviewing this. I would tell my kids in the physical classroom to do this, and I'm telling you guys now to do this. So that was one of the main things that I came across while grading. The other one was note taking, and I'm going to do a little bit about that in just a second. So here I have a totally different student. I've pulled up his notes that the student has submitted for Module 2 for the DBA. Doesn't matter if you submit these notes or not. If you want to do those flipped grids, yay! I love seeing your faces. I love hearing what you have to say and seeing how you think. But I have so many students that struggle on notes, and not just notes, but also what I expect for notes in the DBA. So in this particular kiddo has done a really great mini version of what I like to see. So first thing he did is he titled 2.01, and he's giving me lots of pictures. He's picking up some very important information about what was going on 2.01. Did the same thing for 2.02, 2.03, 4, and 5. So lots of information here. He's taken some key pictures, he's broken it up into sections, and that's an important thing. So the other thing that I wanted to show you, besides showing you this exemplar, is if you are confused and you have no idea of where to start with notes, what you need to start with. So here I am. I'm about to open up biology because that's pretty much, you know what, let's open up chemistry. So I'm going to open up chemistry. I'm going to open up my activities. Remember, if you see some weird little icons that you aren't used to seeing, then that's okay. So this is my home page. This is the landing page, okay? There's lots of great information on here. You should be reading it. It's important. You'll also notice that there's this wonderful agenda up there, and this, if you want to use it, you can break up your stuff and put notes in there and break down your assignments or add assignments that maybe you've missed. So anyway, I put stuff up there too, but let's go back and talk about this. So I'm going to get into, let's say, Module 2. And in Module 2, you're going to see the podcast that you need to be probably watching. The resources for Module 2, so important. Read through these if you're struggling, but we're focusing on notes. So I'm going to open up 2.02, and this is the lesson for 2.02. And if you're struggling with taking notes and not knowing what to do, the very first thing that you go to is the objective section. Sometimes it's called goals. Sometimes it might be called key thoughts or important something or other. It has different things, but what it's going to do, it's always going to say, after completing this, you're going to be able to do something. So you're going to need to be able to describe the structure, differentiate among, and determine the relationship. And if you are struggling with your notes, the first thing you're going to write down is Chemistry 2.02, and you're going to write these 3 things down. I highly suggest that you either number these or do these in color and match your colors to each target. You only want to take notes on these 3 things during the lesson. Now, it's important that you make sure when you take those notes, are you able to describe what each of those are? So you want to make sure that you have protons, that you have neutrons in there, and that you have electrons. And it says the structure of the atom. So if I need to be able to describe an atom, I need to be able to use protons, neutrons, and electrons appropriately. So you need to know that when you're done with your notes, that you can go back and answer those questions. So now let's just say that you're struggling, you're in a pickle, you haven't done those notes appropriately. I can give you a shortcut. This is not something you should do on a regular basis because it doesn't work as well. But if you haven't taken notes and now you're struggling and need to go back and take notes, this is where you need to go. I'm sorry, I thought it was on this last page, but it's not. It's on page 2. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom. And, oh great, this one doesn't have it, so I'm very sorry. It will actually generally show you a summary of what you've gone on the last page and what you should have learned. And it should give you this mini sample of what's going on. That is going to be important. At the very least, you should have those notes on those topics that they're summarizing at the end. The other thing is that I want to point out too, here, there's this nice little note section, and it's going to open up a whole new window. And it's going to say using Cornell notes, and you're going to open it up, and it's going to walk you through what Cornell notes are and how to use them appropriately. And that's a big deal. Most colleges will tell you to use Cornell notes. Most school teachers, when you're face-to-face, are going to tell you to use those. So you should be able to do those. Also, don't be afraid to use your glossary because there's going to be excellent information in there. And you can always use your print button to print the page. So try using those. Get used to using OneNote as well. I'm not going to go over that today, but that's important as well. So if you need help in note-taking, this is a great place to start. So those are just my observations after grading 135 assignments. So hope that was helpful, and I'm sorry for the long video.